Hey, what's up, everybody? Bdf 44 coming at you with another video. All right, getting out today, man. Getting out today. Got to do some grocery shopping. Feeling pretty good about how my day is going so far. Got the Laker video out the way. Game starts at 7 o'clock. I forgot to tell people that. So if you see this video and did also see the other one, game starts 7 p.m. Pacific, 10 o'clock Eastern too. So I forgot. I said all the things except for that. But yeah, man. It's a pretty good day. It's a little warmer than it looks. It looks real gloomy, but it's actually about to reach up to about probably 80 degrees today. So it should be pretty nice. It's gonna be raining on Tuesday or Wednesday. I don't know. Hard to keep up with this weather here in California, but you know, we are just moseying along. I got some grocery shopping, as I said, to do, and I've been in the house for the last couple of days working on the crafts that I have for myself. I had something really cool happen a few nights ago in regards to my playlist work. A random Facebook friend of mine, Instagram friend of mine, posted something. Actually, it wasn't a random friend; it was one of my homegirls. But she posted something that took me back into my old days. It was the DuckTales theme song. Random. I hadn't seen that since I was a little kid. But what it ended up doing was providing me a link to a retro Instagram account that only posts a bunch of stuff from like the 80s and the 90s and stuff from my childhood. And so I went down that rabbit hole of checking out what they had posted, and it was one post that they had this particular song that I liked. I'd never heard the song before, but it was like some type of 80s type of vibe to it. So what I did was I Shazammed it, as I always do with music, added it to my iTunes, and then went around into that artist's music and ended up going down another rabbit hole that ended up providing me a lot of music to work with in regards to playlists. So I had no intention of doing this. When I found this music, it was probably, I was in bed getting ready to go to sleep. It was one of the last things I was planning on doing before going to sleep, was just looking at my phone a little bit and then knocking out, and ended up dealing with all this, finding the music. And what was that, Friday night? So I added a bunch of music, not only from that particular artist, but like from like 3 other artists that did the same music. And so what it ended up doing was creating an opportunity for me to make a retro 80s series of playlists. It wasn't just one playlist. Too much music. So none of this music is actually from the 80s. That's what makes it so cool. This is a modern artist. Most of these songs were made over the last 4 years. Like literally, all of this stuff is new. But they were able to capture the 80s vibes so perfectly to where, and it's just a bunch of instrumentals. Good 95% of it is instrumentals. 1 or 2 songs may have had like someone doing some sort of hook or something, but they're all instrumentals of like 80s sounds, various sounds that you would hear in 80s TV shows. And so what I ended up doing was making an entire series of playlists. It totaled to be, I think, like 105 songs. So I made 4 playlists like this. And what I did was, I was born in 1984. So what I did was make all 4 of them each a different season. So I got, you know, winter 84, summer 84, spring 84, and autumn 84. And I made that playlist Saturday. I did all 4 of those playlists on Saturday. I started it at like 1 in the afternoon, finished at like 3 in the morning. I did take a break to do my exercise in the shower and eat. So you can snatch away maybe 2 hours that I went away from it. Other than that, it was me with the headphones on, sorting through basically 150 songs. And I ended up reducing it down to like 105, I think is what it ultimately came out to be. Roughly about 25 songs a playlist. I was burnt out, man. I burnt myself. I've never done that many playlists in one day. I think the most I ever did was 3 in one day. So that was really like, my head was mush, man. But I had a great time with the music. I think all the playlists came out the way I wanted them to. and they're just a bunch of 80s retro instrumental sounds. It's really good. It's really good. I have yet to hear all of them, of course. I have to do art for each and every one of them. And I already had 2 playlists that I had completed that hadn't had art done for them. So I'm well behind. It's probably gonna take me a couple of weeks to get all this done. Not to mention with what could be potentially coming next. Who knows when I'm gonna catch up. But yeah, that's what I was able to do, man. So that was really fun for me. It took me down a path of kind of adding something to my catalog that I've never done. Would have never done it in the first place had not for this very rare organic opportunity come my way. And so yeah, man, the 84 series, it's done, and look for that on Apple Music. I had a wonderful time finding all of those songs, and a good majority of the time I enjoyed sorting them, but at the end, I am not gonna lie, I was exhausted. I probably should have saved the 4th one for the next day, but I was thinking I want to capture this vibe because I don't want to put it off. If I do, I may not turn to this sound. I may not, feel like doing this. So I wanted to do it all in one day, man. So the collection of music was done on one day, and the following day I've sorted them all together, finished it, and that was all of my Saturday, man. That was exactly how I spent my Saturday. And it was cool because the Lakers didn't play yesterday or Saturday, so it allowed for me opportunity to just kind of zone in on these things. Yesterday was, of course, Bible study day, and what I really want to do, because I stayed up till 3 in the morning, ended up waking up on Sunday at like 8:30, 9 o'clock. I was so exhausted on Sunday that my intention was to eat breakfast and then have a daytime nap between like 1 and 4 o'clock when my uncle would call or whatever. But knowing that I have so many playlists backed up, I didn't allow myself to sleep. I did art for one of the playlists that I had completed. So the LCD 451 was complete yesterday. In the hours that I told myself I would sleep, I psyched myself into being productive. So I did a couple art pieces for that. That was one of the longest playlists I made too. That was another thing. It was like, man, I had the headphones on for like 11 hours the night before. I didn't want to wear them at all yesterday. But the discipline and the dedication to trying to, complete the task took over. And so I was able to listen to that 2-hour playlist, which was really good, actually. It didn't feel like 2 hours. I think I did a good job with 451. So yeah, I was able to do that. The art came out pretty solid. I liked it. And so it was a good art day yesterday. Did the Bible study. Everything went well. And I slept for like 2 hours after Bible study. Woke up at like 7 something, and then didn't get to sleep last night until probably like 1:30 or something like that. So, and woke up at like 8:50, 9 o'clock this morning. So I ain't really working on the most sleep, to be honest with you. But at the same time, I was able to be very productive. And that's really what it's all about, man. Being productive and trying to make the most out of my craft. I've also been still studying basketball talent for this upcoming draft. I've picked out a player every day to study. So in the mornings, that's what I've been doing with my exercise, is listening to and watching content on whatever the player is that I pick. So kind of focusing in on that as well. I got a lot of that stuff in my head. I did a video for that yesterday before breakfast. Or was that the day before? It might have been the day before breakfast. I'm not really sure, but I did a 45-minute video on that you guys can check out if you care about it. I think that was Saturday before I started working on the playlist and stuff. So yeah, man, just been working, man. Of course, I've been keeping up with the Lakers stuff as well, but they haven't played in 2 days, so it allowed for me to kind of step away from that. Of course, we're back to that today. So yeah, man, I'm kind of running on fumes, honestly. I don't think I've had the sleep that my body would really prefer. Not really. And today I couldn't afford to stay home because I had to do some grocery shopping. So this was not a day I could catch up on sleep at all. So hopefully this exercise, this walk here, will kind of snap me into focus. I plan on going to Hollywood doing the hill climbing thing. But the truth of the matter is I could probably get everything I need at Trader Joe's. I probably don't actually have to go to Target. So we'll see how I feel when I walk down here. I might actually just go to the local Traders and grab everything I need from here and then just make my way back here. So I've had every intention of going to Hollywood, but at this point I might just keep it local. We'll see. Yeah, man, that's what's up with me. I've been very, very productive for what it is I've been trying to accomplish. That's what I've been throwing myself into. All the different things that I, pride myself in being good at or working on. I've been really doing those things. So that is good. The way to end the month. Of course, I have to send my love to my mother, man. Today is her 10th year anniversary passing day. She died 10 years ago today. And, as I told you guys, if you follow me, I don't move along with the schedule of the calendar. You know what I mean? I'm just going to be completely honest with you, and I've said this a million times. I don't be thinking about stuff on the day that they're supposed to be thought about. I be thinking about stuff they ain't got on days that have nothing to do with it. So like today is supposed to be, okay, it's her day. So I'm supposed to be thinking about her. I'm supposed to be sad. I'm supposed to be in that mode. But on this day, that's not the mood I'm in at all. Like, I was feeling that way randomly on January 10th. You know what I mean? So like, that's how it works for me. But I definitely said a prayer for my mother this morning, and I thought about her. But as far as me being in my feels deeply, oh my God, it's been 10 years. That's not the mode. That ain't how I'm feeling today, man. Just like I tell you guys, when Christmas comes around, I may not be thinking about Christmas. My birthday come around, I may not feel like my birthday. It's just how my brain works. The calendar doesn't determine how I feel about things. Whatever I'm feeling feels that way that day. You know what I mean? So with this being a 10-year anniversary, that doesn't trigger within me a certain deep solemnness about what this day represents. I actually am not really considering it as much as maybe a normal person would, if I'm being completely honest with you. But I definitely miss my mother, and this is obviously a very difficult thing to have gone through, to say the least. Anytime I hear of anybody losing their mother, I kind of know how that goes. For me, dealing with that 10 years ago, I handled it very well, in my opinion, because I just kept working. I just worked straight through it. I may have taken 2 weeks off. It was crazy because I had a Vegas trip planned prior to her passing, and it just so happened to land on the day after her funeral. So I was able to literally go out of state the day after burying her. So that was really good, hanging out with my buddies, going to Vegas. Even then, I wasn't really dealing with it. You know what I mean? It wasn't like it was something where it was messing with my head. I was kind of just rolling with whatever and just keeping on. And I had so much going on outside of what I had to deal with my mother, because my living situation had disintegrated at that same time. So I had so much to worry about that I didn't really have the ability to just kind of focus on my feelings about my mother passing. So it was a lot going on. That was a very difficult time, man. And I thank God for getting me through it. And it's been a lot of ups and downs since then. I struggled a lot after my mother passed, as you guys know, clearly seen. And so we just continue forward, man. That's really what it comes down to. 10 years. It does feel like 10 years. A lot has happened since she passed. A whole lot. It feels like 10 years. It really does. So, yeah, this just is what it is, man. Just gotta live with myself, Certain things you never quite get over. That's definitely one of them. Especially since I had a good mother. So that's really what I have to say about that. Rest in peace to my mom. And I wish I could go see her today, but I gotta get groceries. I have no choice. I got to make that move. So maybe I'll try seeing her sometime over the next couple of weeks. I don't have anything planned this week, but I definitely do want to get down there. I haven't been in months. So I don't think I've been at all this year, actually. So yeah, that's something I'd like to do very soon. So yeah, man, that's what's up there. Said a prayer for all the people who love my mother as well. I think about my uncle, my aunties, her sisters, some of her friends who are still alive. I prayed about all of them this morning. I don't know if, I don't know those folks that well at this point in my life, but I know how much my mother meant to them and how much they meant to my mom. So if they're having a difficult day, I definitely get it. So yeah, man, that's really what's up. Had a strange dream last night. It was a little disturbing. I was at a mall. First of all, I was playing a character in my dream that I don't resonate with in real life. If I'm being real, I don't think these thoughts. But in the dream, I was someone who was on the verge of crashing out. Now, I don't know what the context of it was. I really don't know. But I know that I had given up on life completely in the dream and essentially was ready to do something I had no business doing. I had no business doing. I was grabbing 2 guns. I was going into a mall and I was going to shoot somebody or several somebody. I don't know who it was in the dream. No idea why. I don't know what was going on. I couldn't stop myself from doing it. There was no rationale in the dream. I was essentially a damn terrorist, if I'm being honest with you. I've never had a dream like that before. I hope to never have one again. It didn't actually end up doing anything. But I had it in my mind. I was getting my guns and I was going to this damn mall and I was looking for somebody that I knew would be there, or I don't really know what the thinking actually was. But I was living out this dream from this first-person perspective. And when I got to the mall, which is really strange because I want to double back and say, the post that I saw that had that song attached to it was a post that was essentially saying they should turn all retro malls into retirement centers for millennials in the future. That was what, and it had some dope 80s song attached to it, and it was showing us a first-person perspective going through all these different 80s style malls. It was that type of mall in the dream. So just to kind of make all that full circle. And I was going into the mall. It had to be like in that era. And what I ended up seeing was Kanye West. Kanye West was in the mall. And I think I was going into like some type of barber shop area in the mall. So I remember one of the malls I used to go to as a kid in that era had a barber shop too. I even got my hair cut there twice. But point is, I was going into that area and I think someone came up to me and was essentially trying to talk me down off a ledge in regards to what I was trying to do. They saw me loading up my guns or whatever, and they were like, yo man, you shouldn't kind of think twice. Talking me down. And as they did, I was coming out of the establishment and into the common area of the mall and looked downstairs. As you can, certain malls, I'm sure if you've been to any of these malls that I've been to, you can kind of walk past certain rail areas and look down into the bottom floor of the mall. And, you know, you can look up from down there and see everybody walking around. So you look down in that little hole and you see Kanye West. And he's walking by himself, and then the mob starts to come around him. You know, just natural fans see somebody that famous, they're gonna being that damn famous, you're gonna get mobbed. So I saw the beginning of him being mobbed. And what ended up happening was, as he's walking through the mall, these people are coming around him, they end up rushing him and knock him down. Right? And then it no longer is a mall anymore. It's like in the middle of a street, maybe like Hollywood Boulevard. It's like the perspective completely changed, the environment completely changed, but he's still in that same motion. And what ended up happening was, it's like they're trying to jump this guy. They knock him to the ground and they swarm him. And then it was like in the middle of the street, a truck, like one of them big semi trucks, back up, like a huge type of semi truck, It backs up with the back door open. You know, the area where you load the things into, it was open, and the mob picked Kanye up, put him in that truck, and what they ended up having was like this suspension type thing that you can sit people in if you're trying to make it so that they can't move, or you lock their legs up, lock their arms to the chair, that kind of thing. They sat him in that, kidnapped him, and closed the door and drove off. And so I'm like, what the hell happened? What they doing to Kanye, man? And immediately I'm thinking, yo, they got him. Like, whoever they are, they finally got his ass. And that was the end of the dream. That was not a good dream, man, but that was the end of that dream. What's up, buddy? And so that's what ended up happening. So, furthermore, I wake up out of that for a split second. I turn over. I don't even get up, go to the restroom or nothing. I turn over and go back to sleep. And then a different disturbing thing happens in the dream that I was about to have. The new dream was a different type of concerning. This is a character actress. I have no idea who she is. Caucasian character actress. I'm sitting in this dark room, and she walks in the door holding an envelope. And she walks right up to me as I'm sitting on the bed. It's like a romantic setting, but it wasn't romantic vibes. She came in all business, looking like a lawyer. I don't remember who this character actress is, but I've seen her on TV a million times. Very strange how she played a character in my dream. But she walked up to me, sat down next to me, and said, "You need to pray for Candace Owens." That's exactly what she said. She said, "You need to pray for Candace Owens because she's got a doozy of a lawsuit coming her way." And then she showed me what was in the envelope, and the envelope was showing me the company that's suing her, and it had something to do with medical stuff. It didn't have nothing to do with what she has going on in real life. It had something to do with something that I didn't quite understand. She was essentially saying, yo, this company, very prestigious medical company, is going to sue her, and you need to pray for her because this is a doozy of a lawsuit. Like this is a big problem for her. And I told her, I was like, you know what, I'll pray for y'all both. I'll pray for you both. That's what I told her. And she thanked me. Her face lit up, and she thanked me. And I woke up out of the dream. So yeah, those are the dreams I had last night. And of course, both of those people are on my prayer list. I often dream of people in my prayer list. That is not new at all. In fact, that's very common for me. So yeah, that's what ended up happening, man. And I woke up out of that dream immediately this morning and said my prayers immediately and started my day. So that's the dream I had, man. Hopefully those people are much better in real life than what they were in my dream, because Kanye was not doing well at all. They kidnapped that boy, straight up. They beat him up and they threw him in a truck and drove off with him. That's exactly what happened. And I don't know what happened after that, because I woke up. And so, yeah, man, prayers out. That's all I can say, prayers out. I don't like dreams like that. I don't know why I was walking into that mall looking to kill somebody. It certainly wasn't Kanye West I was looking for. I know that much. And I didn't actually hurt anybody, because that kind of threw my whole mindset off. A couple of whoever that was trying to talk me off the ledge. But, yeah, man, very, very, very disturbing stuff last night in my dream. So, prayers out, man. I definitely said prayers for those people and continue to pray for those people going forward. So, yeah, that's one thing I can share with y'all. What else going on? Stuff in the world, man. You know, this war continues to look bad on America and Israel. Real bad. Different factions of the Middle Eastern community are joining this war against Israel and America, from what I understand. The Houthis are coming in, Pakistan is joining in, all fighting for Iran. A few others, I think, as well. So, I don't know, I hear Turkey might be joining in as well. It's a lot, man. It's a lot. And I was listening to one of the Iranian spokespeople for their military. He essentially said that the U.S. and Israel have bombed 60 schools, killing over 1,000 students, he said. I only heard about 2. He said it was 60, I think he said. Just like, I can't confirm that. I haven't seen that from anyone else, but that's what he's telling the media. That's what he's telling any of us who are listening to him. Yeah, man. I know that. Rest in peace to this another press member, a lady in Lebanon, and another gentleman that she was working with. They were assassinated 2 days ago. So Israel continues to assassinate press members. They bombed another child hospital, I think in Lebanon as well. I think it was in Lebanon. The kids in incubators were being evacuated. Babies in incubators being evacuated from a bombed hospital. Like, you know, I mean, the word is spreading. That's what I can say, man. The word is spreading. The things that we've been talking about on this channel, more and more people are starting to get an understanding of what it is that's going on with Israel, what Israel does, what their playbook is, and looking at America and saying, "You really standing with this? Are you sure this is the hill you want to die on?" But blackmail is a very what's the word? It's a strong motivator, you know. I think I will stay local. Blackmail is a strong motivator, ladies and gentlemen. That's what I will say. Yeah, I think I can afford to stay local. With all the stuff that I have on this list, all of it can be bought over here. And I'll keep it local. But it's a strong motivator, man. I don't think these people in America, all of them who are doing Israel's bidding, would necessarily like to. I just think that they are compelled. And when someone's compelled, they're not in a position to defend that for which they're being used against or for. They don't have a position they can take other than the position that they're given. So I think when you apply that to what we're looking at, it makes sense why America doesn't benefit from any of these actions. Because the people who are compelling America to do so don't have America's best interest at heart at all. And these people who are being compelled can't defend America effectively and do what they've been compelled to do at the same time. Those two things do not go together. So that's what I think I'm looking at. That's what I think we're all looking at. That's what I've been saying for a while, and I think this is what the evidence showed. There are a lot of people who are very confused, who are trying to analyze this thing. Very intelligent people, very knowledgeable people, but they're confused because they're looking at it through a lens where America representatives have a choice to either defend America or align with Israel on whatever Israel's intentions are for America and American troops. That's the wrong lens to look through. That's going to make everything confusing if you're looking at it that way. And they're also not looking at it from a spiritual standpoint, so they're expecting that Israel can be reasoned with, or that if enough money is applied to certain areas, certain solutions can be found to what the damages are, trying to figure out why, you know, Israel and America continue to align themselves with things that are going to ruin their reputation, why they're not protecting their people better, why they're sending their soldiers in on what appears to be a suicide mission. Those questions can't possibly be answered if you're not looking at this through a spiritual lens. The answer is because they serve the devil, and the devil has no problem sending people to their slaughter. A loss is a win because the devil hates himself and he hates the people he works for, or who works for him rather. This is the truth. And this is the lens that makes this not confusing. And this is the lens that I've been trying to get everybody who follows me to see all of this through. And so as things are unfolding and we're watching analysts, particularly worldly minded analysts who don't really have spiritual understanding, they are very confused at what America and Israel is doing. They're trying to, they say, well, the rhetoric that they're using may be meant to confuse people, but they really have a plan. No, this is the plan. Well, you know, if they gotta be, someone has to reason with these people to keep them from sending our soldiers in here to die. No, they want to sacrifice our soldiers. The plan is not to win. The plan is to destroy. They're trying to bring about the end of the world. And they're trying to do it in a specific way that exalts the Zionist entity. So, like, when you look at it through that lens, a lot of these things that are very confusing to people become less confusing to understand. This is very simple stuff, but you just got to know what you're looking at. The lies are being told, well, these are easy lies to debunk. I don't understand why they keep telling these lies. They keep telling these lies because they're trying to exalt the devil. The devil's a liar. The devil's a loser. The devil's going to facilitate his own failure. This is what it looks like when that happens. Like, so stuff that we've been talking about, I just say that they're missing very key understandings. So a lot of these analysts are missing some very key understandings to help them properly assess what they're looking at and not waste mental bandwidth on certain things that really have a simple answer. So that's what I'm seeing. There's a lot of confused analysts or analysts. You know, they mean well and they get on TV, but they looking at it through a worldly lens, and this is a spiritual occurrence. This is a demonic occurrence that we're dealing with here. So you gotta look at it through a spiritual lens in order to make any sense of it whatsoever. And you know, I guess that's what I'm here for, right? I'm supposed to insert that variable into my conversation and make it a bit more normal to kind of look at things that way. Whether you're a believer or not, there's the people who are involved that are believers, and that's the point. And so to understand what they're doing, you got to incorporate these thoughts and these understandings so that you're not confused, or so that you're not led down a path where you're expecting things that are just not coming. And so that's really the point of view that I want to share with you guys, and have been trying to share with you guys on this channel for a little while now. So when you see them, like people, for example, trying to figure out if America intentionally intended to bomb the school or the schools at this point. Yes, of course they did. Because they're doing this on behalf of Israel, and Israel does this purposefully, consistently. So any mental bandwidth wasted on whether or not America intended to bomb these schools is just that. It's wasted. Wasted mental bandwidth. Of course they did. It's a play used many times over in Gaza. And people say, well, it's not. This is not Israel. It's America. Well, America's being compelled to do Israel's bidding. We are the gun that they are pointing at whatever they're pointing it at. That's really what it comes down to. So if we're running their plays, we're doing it on their behalf. It's very simple stuff, man. It's not as difficult as a lot of these people are struggling to make out. And the reason why a lot of them are struggling is because they don't have a spiritual understanding. They probably weren't paying attention to what was going on in Gaza probably as closely as maybe they should have. And they're not recognizing the patterns. Or they still have some like delusional idea about the leverage that America has in doing whatever it's doing. Or they still have some delusional idea about what America is supposed to be able to stand for in the presence of certain conundrums. They have this grandiose idea that we have the moral high ground, and that we're the good guys and all this. So they can't. It's just unfathomable that America would do these things. Well, if you understand the history, you would not. Or if you were actually listening to people who've told their stories about what this has been done to them, then you're not confused. You know, but I think a good portion of people I've been paying attention to, they're in a great deal of denial about where we actually stand morally and where we've stood morally for the duration of our existence. You know, we've always done things we had no business doing and used, you know, warfare and violence and religion and lies to accomplish our goals. This is just kind of what we've always done. And then we fall back on our sophistication, our religion, and our confidence as a means of, kind of justifying all of it amongst ourselves. And then we ignore anyone outside of our bubble, so we don't get the accountability that comes from, people wagging their finger at us. We ignore all of those people. And we just listen to people we agree with in this country and continue to, consider ourselves good people in that process. And then, one part of this thing is this obvious is that America is very racist, has been for a long time. And again, that wagging of the finger has been ignored a lot of the time. So people get offended instead of looking to improve upon that culture. They ignore it, or they make exceptions for that, or they essentially deny it. No, we ain't racist. Y'all just annoying. We ain't racist. We just sick of you. Like it becomes a conversation where it's like, okay, well, because you have that perspective, you're not growing either. You're not taking it into consideration, all of this being the truth, and as a result, you're kind of confused when you finally do have to see those wagging fingers looking at you, and these people are telling you, yo, you've been this way this whole time, and it's not right. It's like a cult-like atmosphere here, if I'm being honest, and this is what this has shown me. We surround ourselves with people who agree with us, who align with us, and then we create the culture that we choose, right? And just justify it, regardless of who else gets hurt. We're not necessarily hurting anyone we care about, so it's all fine. Like, everything is as it should be, and we have the moral high ground, and we continue to say what we say about others. They are terrorists. They're evil. I'm watching the Zionist community do this a lot. And they're going around literally terrorizing people, but when they open their mouths, the conversation is about how people are being terrorists toward them. They'll walk up to the people they're terrorizing and saying, you're not going to terrorize us anymore. Like, we're not terrorizing you at all. You're terrorizing us. And it's like a disconnect between the reality of things, because they're trying to drive themselves with what motivates them to behave that way. I know I'm not terrorizing you. You know I'm not terrorizing you. But still, when you come to terrorize me, you speak to me as if I'm terrorizing you. And this is why you need to terrorize me. It's like a real deep, dark denial. How people will things into being the case. If you use positive thinking and declarations, as they say in the Bible, if you speak of things of those as if they are true, they can become true, that kind of thing. It's like they move that way in regards to their terrorist intentions. So you walk up to somebody who's not doing anything at all, and then you scream at them and tell them to stop messing with you as you beat the hell out of them. That's what they do. That's just literally what they're doing. And so it's a strange psychosis when you really consider it. And it's being done here and in Israel. I saw footage of some settlers in Israel approaching. It was this guy who approached this school in Palestine, and he was essentially saying, we're going to erase everybody here if these kids keep throwing these rocks. We know you are a terrorist. We know. He's talking to like some school teachers who are meeting him outside the gate or whatever. And he's essentially saying to them, y'all gonna stop throwing rocks over here, or we're gonna erase you. We're gonna end you if you don't. It's like, nobody's throwing any rocks at you, man. What are you talking about? But he has to verbalize that and believe it to be a driving force for his terror. Otherwise, he has to admit he's the bad guy, and that's a very difficult thing for them to do, for whatever reason. Like, they have to convince one another they're the good guy, and then they have to proceed to do things that are bad in the process. So the only thing that makes sense in regards to that is willing with verbiage the reality you can use to justify your behaviors. That's what they do. This is what they do in every aspect of their warfare. They are definitely not going to admit to themselves or to anyone else that they are the bad guy. So as a result, they spew at you delusional rhetoric that only aligns with the motivating, what motivates them to do whatever it is they choose to do. So like if we were to do that in America, if you want to be a robber, you walk up to somebody that you're trying to rob and then you say, you tried to rob me, so I'm taking back what you stole from me. Like, bro, I've never seen you in my life. You're robbing me right now. No, I'm not. You stole that from me. No, I literally never seen, I've never stolen anything from you. I don't know who you are. You damn robber, thief, I'm taking this from you. Like, that's what they're doing all day long. This is exactly what the Jews have been doing. With respect to the good Jewish people that don't do this, obviously not everybody, but the Zionists have been doing. This is how they operate. It's a strong, willful, rhetoric-based motivation. Words indeed provide the excuse in their minds. I guess they think we're all going to go along with this because words mean so much, right? And if you watch your president, he's doing the same thing. He's declaring victory where there's otherwise no evidence or something. Like, this is the same, like, vile delusion that they've engaged in regards to motivating them to do everything that they've done. I believe it's a dark, spiritual, satanic veil over their eyes that keeps them from seeing the truth or believing the otherwise truth, and it keeps them at war with the truth or being revealed the truth. I think it's quite literal that they believe these things, despite no evidence. And if you apply that to everything that they've done and everything that you've seen, that makes sense. They're chosen, they believe in God. Like all of it's the same thing. It's like, the application of words in the absence of self-recognition of denial. It's that self-awareness of denial and and then they replaced it with like rhetoric, like decisive and completely false rhetoric applied to literally everything that they're opposing. And then furthermore, a stiff arm of reality. So for example, they are not going to show that they're taking losses, right? They're going to kill all of the people who are reporting the truth to continue to be at war with the truth and then be in denial about the fact that is the case. They'll say to all the press members that they're killing, you are terrorists. You press members are masquerading as Hamas. All of these children are going to grow up to be Hamas. All of these individuals who are telling the truth are supporters of Hamas. Like it becomes an application of lie and label that then creates the open invitation within themselves to engage in whatever behaviors that ultimately they feel are justified if that were the case. Will it first react to that for which you've willed into reality? Deny, be aggressive and always fall back on the fact that you're a victim in the presence of whatever it is that you've labeled to be such. So for example, another example I'll give you. I'll walk up to a dog, somebody's dog, fall to the ground, say the dog has bit me. You know what I mean? That type of thing. And then proceed to kick the dog. The dog then gets mad, and then I'm labeling the dog a vicious dog. You know, that type of thing. It's like, this is what they do. It's exactly what they do. So you can be in an argument with one of these people. We've seen footage of this. You can be in an argument with one of these people, and all of a sudden, they'll pretend like you terrorized them. They'll drop to the ground, clutch their leg, and swear you hit them with a bat in the leg. Like, no one's touched you. I'm not even holding the bat. Yes, you did. Like, yes, you. It's like, and so when you see them be so aggressive with the silencing of words, and why they're so angry at what they consider to be labels upon them, it's two things I think that's maybe going on. One is the denial of truth and being at war with the truth. The other is the projection of one's own energy onto whoever it is you are opposing. To say, because I operate this way, you must operate this way, and that you are that way, it justifies whatever it is I'm either saying or doing to you. So that's kind of the psychology there. It's like we know that when we use words a certain way, we can do a lot of things and justify a lot of behaviors. So when someone else uses words, we're assuming they're doing the same thing. We automatically expect that they are doing the same thing. Like that's kind of the psychology there. So as we continue to watch them maneuver in certain ways and lie, stiff arm the truth, use all their power to try to control narratives, and then have put so much stock in the idea of narratives being a motivator for support and action, you start to get a fuller understanding of what it is and who it is you're dealing with and why you may see certain things. And furthermore, how far do they take it? You know, when they pray to God, they believe they're praying to God. But of course, if you dig into the history, what you end up finding out is that the God that they serve is not God, but actually the enemy of the Creator. Like they would never admit that, but because to admit that would be to tell the truth, and then from there disintegrate the environment for which they can engage in whatever motivators they do, to do whatever it is they choose to accomplish whatever goals they have. So they can't acknowledge that any more than they can acknowledge most of what is true, if not all of what is true in a lot of cases. The only truth that they're willing to tell is when they actually are attacked, which furthermore reinforces the idea that what it is that they're doing should be done in response to whatever attack. So, for example, you attack them in whatever way, they will tell the world that they've been attacked if it benefits them strategically to do so. If it doesn't benefit them, they will hide that. And they proceed to tell lies about being victims while not showing the truth about when they were actually victims, which is really strange, man, really strange stuff. They run around telling everybody that Iran is trying to kill them and wants to wipe them out, but when Iran actually bombs them, they hide the footage of any of the damage that they've taken. It's very, very specific and strange psychology going on there, man. Like if you're gonna call these people whatever you're calling them, and then they actually do what it is that you said they've done, suddenly it doesn't benefit you to express that this is actually happening. It's like they're only pleased when they're able to lie. It only benefits them when they can control the narrative. Even if the narrative itself aligns with what it is that they're saying, there becomes a conflict of interest within themselves for whom they serve demonically, to not necessarily want to tell the truth, but to more so embellish, even when it's unnecessary to do so. It's just like, it's real demonic stuff, man. And that's why I've been trying to have people look at this through a spiritual lens, because a lot of what it is, the behaviors, is just very confusing. But as we understand, when you're talking about the elements of the enemy of God, one of his most important tools is confusion. He lies not just to mislead, but to wear you down, so that you'll sit here in your mindset being so flabbergasted and so frustrated and so offended that then you will be, by way of all of that, discombobulated, and you will make mistakes, or that you'll start working in his favor, start behaving as he does, for which he's then converted you into him, which is ultimately the most important purpose of the enemy of God, is to gain support for all of his intentions and to drag as many people to his fate as possible. So it's to say, I'm going to harm innocent people in hopes of getting that same response from the other side. And that's essentially what they're trying to do. Iran, they bomb 60 schools or whatever it is, and then Iran turns around and says, okay, now we're going to start bombing civilian infrastructure, start bombing water systems or what have you. Now you've effectively been converted into the evil that ultimately they were intentioned to convert you into. So it's like, when you look at it through a spiritual lens, it makes all the sense in the world. But if you look at it through a worldly lens, you just basically playing into the confusion that it ultimately intends to throw you into. And that's why the spirit is so important. This is why the spirit of this conversation is so very important, because if you don't understand the rules or the elements of the warfare that's already in place before man even gets started, you're going to be very, very lost at what it is you're seeing when men are representing one side or another, engaging in spiritual warfare. And so, for me, I look at this from a spiritual lens at all times, and I don't find myself to be very confused. And I find myself trying to discipline against playing into the enemy's hands, although it becomes very easy to do so. And I'm finding that it does. It becomes a real war within oneself. A sinner that I am, like every human being, once provoked by the enemy, it becomes very easy to fall into sinful reactions to his behaviors. So you start celebrating the death of the enemy. You start rooting for the death of the enemy. And that is a conversion process that is successful. And it's so easy to fall into when your feelings are hurt, when you're seeing innocent people get hurt, when you're seeing them laughing and dancing at the presence of innocent people being hurt or what have you. It becomes a situation where you find yourself vindicated when you see the same happen to them, but you lose sight of what the goal is, which is to not convert into what they are. You got to be better so that you can win the game you're playing. You can't be worse. And most importantly, there are consequences for converting into them and then, as I say, stiff-arming the truth. There is a certain fate that you fall into when you align with that behavior that is very undesirable for the person who's engaging in it. And that should not be lost sight of in the process of this as well. They have a very unfavorable and unwelcoming reality as they continue to stiff-arm accountability, truth, shun their friends, and welcome ultimately betrayal into their lives and poor reputations into their lives, and a viciousness pointed at their own humanity. There is something undesirable about that's independent to the specifics of whatever position you stand in. Once you become that, you get the consequences that come with that. And those consequences are overwhelming. So if you stay on the right side of good, you stay out of the radius of that for which can ultimately come toward those who stiff arm the truth, who shun truth at every turn. Guidance through unfavorable terrain is missing from those who are in denial about the presence of any danger to begin with, or those who manifest danger where there is none. It becomes confusing as to know where to stand to stay out of the way of danger when you're constantly walking around believing your own lies about things being dangerous wherever you stand. When you believe your own lies, you become frustrated and confused. And then when something unprecedented comes your way, you working from a space from which there's unnecessary confusion and stress in your life. And so, all of this that has shown me that I have a long way to go within my own personal life. All of these different things have shown me that I'm not some holy man, that I can still find myself susceptible to my own struggles and demons, just like any other human being, sin, nature. You start losing sight of the truth once you engage in the wrong things. You start unlearning key spiritual information that can help keep you out of that radius of that destruction, putting that veil over your eyes that ultimately makes it so that it's difficult for you to see clearly in the presence of spiritual warfare. It's so important that all of us within our own individual lives continue to keep our spiritual lens on the forefront so that we don't find ourselves coerced into being blind once again. And being so close to the enemy that we can't, that people from a distance can't tell who's who. In the presence of tussling with him and warring with him and wrestling with him and matching his fighting blow for blow, every punch blow for blow, you effectively turn into what he is. And that's exactly what he wants for you. And so it's tricky, man, because a lot of people aren't raised with this understanding. They're not, these are not common conversations But the reaction to frustration comes naturally to all of us, whether we're talking to one another or sitting in a room by ourselves. And so it's important for us to not fall victim to what comes with that. By continuing to share conversations such as these and share this information, understanding, as to know what our true north should ultimately be. As I've said many times, compassion should be your true north. There's a lot of misdirection and lies attached to every relationship, religious relationship with the Most High. There are a lot of people who are serving who they call God, and it doesn't benefit them to tell you that it's not the God of Abraham. It doesn't benefit them to tell you that it's not the God who created all of us. They will call who they call God and then use rhetoric that you use when praising, but they're not talking to the same entity. And that lie comes naturally to the enemy of God, because in order to effectively support what he has going on, you have to be at war with the truth. So there will never be a point in time where they're not afraid to then lie about who it is they serve. If you ask them, do they serve the God of Abraham, they will say yes. Because lying's not at all a deal breaker. But the actions and the behaviors will speak to who they serve every time. And that's what we need to get much better in. Generations to come need to be much better about being able to identify that, to be able to look for that and identify when it's in place. Well beyond what it is that we're capable of in this era. Many of us are still not really sure about that. We're still following bad energies, people who say they support God, when the God that they serve is not who they're serving, or not who we serve, rather. When we intend to pray to God, they're not, no, that's not who they don't care to support the intentions of the Creator at all. So that's what I want to say, man. It's tricky. This is one of the reasons why I don't like going to church really very much, because I don't trust human beings to really, I just don't trust. And there's ways that being that way can be harmful to one's spirit. So I wouldn't say follow me in that regard. I need to continue to grow. There are good churches out there. There are good people out there. There are good pastors out there, etc. But in the presence of being in the belly of the beast, America, specifically the Western world heartbeat, I just understand that a good portion of the people who are here have to be able to justify demonic intentions to keep this colonial project rising. They have to be willing to sacrifice to the enemy of God in order to continue solidifying what the spirit behind all of this is really about. And if you have compassion as your true north, then you understand that this thing was built on everything but compassion. And that's the key to all of this. And there are a lot of quote-unquote American patriots who are not going to like what I have to say. But what does a win look like for America is the question I have for you. Continuing in the path of being against that of the creator of God, creator of people, creator of peace, for the sake of what it is that your flag waves, for the sake of what are you, false integrity, which is moving in a way that destroys the innocence as a means of propping oneself up to appear strong and powerful. We're watching people who have those ideologies make bad choices right now that are destroying the world. I saw a comment that made a lot of sense. It's like, we need to debunk the notion that financial power, military power, strength and conviction, and political alignment are what rules the world. Those things don't rule the world. Oil, water, fertilizer, minerals. These things rule the world. If you don't have a good abundance of these things, you don't really have realized power, friends. You just have your propped out chest and your willingness to die for whatever it is you choose. It doesn't mean that you actually are what makes things function in this world. And that is what America is moving along the lines that these things, financial strength, military power, and all these things are what move the earth, but they don't. They don't. What makes the world really go around are these tangible things that ultimately we're destroying in the name of our own ego. We're going to destroy the water pipes over here. We're going to destroy. Like, you're ruining the world's economy. We need gasoline. All of us need gasoline. You're destroying gasoline because you're mad at a guy. You're destroying water facilities because you're mad at a guy. Like, these are things that destroy everybody's ecosystem. It destroys everybody's life. We're rising prices up to spaces that we're going to be in depressions that we've never seen before. Because y'all can't get along. Like, and it becomes a conversation where it's like, yo, this is exactly what the devil wants you to do, is cut off your nose, spite your own face. He wants you to be so caught up fighting with whoever he put in front of you to fight that you end up becoming an enemy in everybody's story. You become the villain in everybody's story. In the name of your own ego. because you can't stand to let somebody have the upper hand on you or something. That's unwise, man. You're gonna destroy the whole world trying to have the upper hand on the other guy. Like, it's just, and in that presence of that wisdom being lacking, we're slow to discover what truly matters as it pertains to a win for our country. What does a win really look like? And we just become the villain in everybody's story trying to fight off these people. What does a win look like when we're allowing unwise individuals who are willing to destroy the whole world for the sake of their own ego and for the alignment of keeping their secrets quiet or whatever? Like, what are we really doing here? I want to say something. I think, and this is just my opinion, I think America is slow to identify what needs to be done. And I ain't talking about the government, I'm talking about the people. We're slow to identify what needs to be done here, man. You got a couple of bad guys representing all of us doing evil stuff for the sake of the enemy of God. This information is now more common than maybe it has ever been. Okay, let's just be honest. They purposely doing evil. They telling you that they believe evil overcomes good and that they're willing to do evil. Because and be ruthless to accomplish their goals. This is what they're telling you at this point. It is extremely unwise for the people to allow people like that to continue to control things. You know, it's one of those situations where if you have a cut, you put a Band-Aid on it. If you're sick, you go to the doctor. If you're dirty, you take a shower. If you use the restroom, you wipe yourself up. Like, there's certain things that you do when you have a problem. And we're not doing that. We're the equivalent of allowing ourselves to stay dirty. When you're hungry, you eat. We're equivalent of sitting there with food in front of us, not even though we're starving. Like, we're behaving that way as it pertains to cleansing ourselves of what is making us sick. And there are going to be generations of people in the future who are going to suffer greatly because we were slow to identify the solutions to our problems, man. The solution to everybody's problems. And we're continuing to stay in a space where our behavior aligns with what ultimately is considered in our cult-like atmosphere to be coof, to be respectful, to be behaving properly. And nestled in those agreements come the failure to identify how to remove the cancer from the body. And that's what it is. That's my opinion. That's what my point of view on this. I just think that we've been very, very slow to identify the problem, and because of it, it's our inactivity and our lack of urgency as a society of people that's ultimately going to create a great deal of problems for the world going forward. And it's going to be too late when we finally figure it out. It's going to be, all the damage is going to already be done by the time we figure it out. And I'm afraid some of the culprits will already be in their graves when the worst of the stuff that they're doing finally starts to hit us. The people who are doing this to us will already been dead, man. And so that's just my little 2 cents. Very concerned about where this is headed. Very concerned that we're just slow to act, man. Very slow to act. Nestled in the spaces that we need to be in order to agree with one another, but failing to save the world, man. And that's what it really comes down to. So that's really what I got to say, man. The enemy of God is always intending to deceive. And anyone who works for the enemy of God is destined to be betrayed. These are things that we have to keep on the forefront of our mind as we continue to see him move in whatever ways he does through the individuals who are doing things in this world today, man. They're always looking to ruin reputations for themselves, others, their opponents, always looking to smear innocent people, destroy innocent lives, ruin circumstances that tumble forward to be successful for others. And it's always a look to destroy, man. It's always a look to justify its horrible intentions by way of self-victimization and some type of other, moral disfigurement, so to speak. I want people to understand that more of the same is coming, but God is also in place as well. He's not just idle in a corner somewhere rocking back and forth, hugging his knees to his chin. That's not what God is doing. And we need to always keep that in mind as we're watching the enemy do so much. It's easy to forget that God is in place. So that's what I want to say, man. I hope that I've been of service to you all. I love everybody. I love myself, and I love God. And I hope that I can make the right decisions with my own personal life to continue to be the person I need to be, so that I can be of service to what the God of Abraham intends to do for his creation in my little space of life. The fight continues for my own peace. Fight continues to be a voice that is trustworthy, and I look to win those battles. And I hope that all of you guys take from my example to say we all need to continue to strive to be better human beings. There's no satisfaction in this life in that regard. If you've done good, then there's more good to do. If you've learned something, there's more learning to do. If you've mastered something, there's teaching to do. And we all have a role to play. Bdf 44, I thank you all for watching.